Very good morning, students. Welcome back to lecture 7. In this lecture, we will mainly talk about molecular mechanism of generation of antibody diversity. So the lecture has been divided into outline. This outline, mainly, I think you need to recap last week a little bit more on antibody structure and antibody types and subtypes, because that is very fundamental to talk about the variability, how can be generated during development of the B cells. So we will recap slowly here and then go into a little bit more depth into genes controlling antibody production and a little bit more on fundamentals of how the gene expression is regulated in general. We will talk much about a little bit post-transcriptional mechanisms and then go into the little bit more detail on molecular basis of generation of antibody diversity. Basically, it goes into several steps, several fundamental processes, but you can take them into small blocks of concepts like genes. Genes can be divided into gene segments. These gene segments can be rearranged during development. That's a gene rearrangement. Again, this one more concept can be analogously called recombination events. It happens during meiosis, cell cycle. Somatic recombination. Cell cycle is a in terms of germ cells. This is somatic recombination. And a specific process called VDJ recombination. What is this? We will see in the present class. Let's recap the structure of the antibodies we were speaking in last class. So basically, it's a Y-shaped polymer. Also, it's a dimer of dimer, heterodimer. So you see from N terminal of the side of the amino acid side of the antibody and C terminal here, NH3 plus COV minus in ionic form. Then you can see there is a Y-shaped long heavy chain. There is one, and the light chain is here, L. And we know that one heavy chain can associate with one light chain. HL will form here, one HL will form here. And this dimer again can combine between the disulfide bonds to give rise to with 4 units consist of the basic units of the antibody. And also you can see small blocks here, small blocks. So it basically tells that each polymer consists of several polypeptides. Each polypeptide will form a separate grooves. And then within that antigen presenting region on the top here in the N-terminal region, we know that there is a variable region. So light chain, 2 variable regions, VL, heavy chain consists of 2 heavy chains, that VH variable regions. This is antigen presenting. And based on the variability in terms of this common structure and variability in the terms of the chains, we know that there are some subtypes, isotypes, allotypes, and idiotypes we discussed already. But in fundamentally, the light chain can exist in 2 variable forms, that is called kappa and then lambda. So only 2 forms exist for light chain. But in contrast to that, heavy chain exists into 5 forms, that is represented by the mathematical symbols here: mu, gamma, alpha, epsilon, and delta. And in terms of this heavy chain, there is again variability. This hinge region is absent in specifically in 2 classes of subtypes called mu and epsilon. There is no, this triangular black region is not there. They will have a straight one bond. Absence of the no hinge region identifies them in terms of distinct from the other heavy chain subtypes. So this is the mathematical terms. If you forgot about that, which is what represents what here, you can go through that. And based on the heavy type, 5 types, you know, right? That IgM to GAMED, GAMED, you arrange into that. Heavy chain, different heavy chains are here. Based on the function molecularity, you can distinguish the antibodies. Primarily, these are the isotopes. In coming on to the variable region and constant region, C and V, you just look into the length. You can again talk in terms of the variable region, constant region in the light chain. In terms of the N end, you see into the molecule here. For example, specifically they are talking N end here for light chain, this here. For heavy chain, they are talking. Basically, they just want to give a overall length of the molecule here. For example, in light chain, the variable region constitutes half of the portion of the polypeptide. See, they constitute 2 units only. 1/2 of the unit is light chain, other unit is constant chain, that is here. When you take heavy chain, 1/4 of the heavy chain is only variable region. the other region is 3/4 constitute the heavy region. They just were talking about the proportionality here. And one more important thing, that antigen binding site is only maintained by the variable region. According to this recognition of the antibodies, many functions, biological activities of the antibodies are pursued by the constant chain also. For example, glycosylation happening here. So if you look at this, there is a kind of homopolymers, heteropolymers, there is a kind of functional association. At the same time, there is a space, there is a distance, there is a length. So all those events in 3 dimension has to work together to form a proper function of the antibody. These isotypes, allotypes, idiotypes, we looked in that how the variability can come. One more important fundamental aspect we need to speak here, I didn't cover in previous classes, I think. So you need to look into the B cells. During the B cell development, the B cell will associated into two kind of molecules on the membrane. First one is called one of the antibody, membrane bound antibody. Another one is called secreted antibody that we discussed. For example, antibodies can occur in two physical forms. A soluble form that is secreted from the cell to be free in the blood plasma. So it is secreted into the plasma. Antibodies like Y-shaped molecule in the secreted form, they can go in a free form into the plasma. Another form is called membrane bound. They are not free. They are associated with the B cells always, and they are associated, and specifically these antibodies associated with the B cell in membrane bound form are called B cell receptors. And then other ones is called soluble antibodies. It's a fundamentally you need to important because this secreted comes due to effector function of the B cell, where B cell becomes into plasma cell. Plasma cell is able to secrete a multiple in a proportion of antibodies into that. So let's take again the fundamental structure. We know that it consists of the units. How do you know that? People started working on experiments where they used specific enzymatic reactions to digest the heterodimer, dimer of dimer. What they have done here, 3 steps here. First digestion is pepsin digestion, papain digestion, and then mercaptoethanol reduction. You know that mercaptoethanol specifically breaks the disulfide bonds. Pepsin breaks the peptide bonds. Papain has specific functionality that breaks chains polypeptides at a certain location, probably hinge region here. So when they did that, they could able to see papain broke in hinge. They consist of 1 unit and 2 units. They call these units antigen binding unit. Again, new terminology. Remember that we keep calling constant, heavy chain, light chain, constant, variable, FAB, FC. The terminology you should remove to distinguish because it correlates with the functionality you are talking about. So basically, if you talk about long and heavy chain, you're talking about some conformation there, amino acid sequences. This is antigen binding site, so no need to work on it too much, but remember that. So in pepsin digestion, they consist of 2 FAB attached. This FC constant region is divided into small fragments, but the mercaptoethanol mainly gives you the distinction that it is a heterodimer of 2 light chains, 2 heavy chains, 4 units, HL, HL. So if you take fundamentally these units, look in terms of the genes coding for it. So let's say an example of, we have 4 units here and a homopolymer light chain, 2 light chains, 2 heavy chains. Just imagine that what will the scenario of what are the genes coding for this? So does only one gene code for both H and L? If then, why they differ in terms of amino acid sequence, in terms of the length, why they differ? If you think that if both are coded by the same gene, for example, one antibody completely is coded by one gene only, all sequences, some magic happens, they go through transcription, translation, processing, and they become like this. That is not the scenario because you are seeing the heterodimers here. A gene cannot code for a different polypeptides at any time. It codes for the same polypeptide. So basically, it's a common logic or common sense you apply. You can say that there is a gene for heavy chain, there is a gene for light chain. That is has been proved with some other experiments. But again, fundamentally what they have shown that, so this is again fundamentals, chromosomes, gene organized, gene 1, gene 2, gene 3, transcription happens, RNA comes, translation happens. one gene codes for only one polypeptide, gene 2, gene 3, different polypeptides will come. Likewise, there is a gene for H, there is a gene for L. Again, remember that in the gene for L, there are two subtypes, kappa and lambda. So there are two genes for that. What they have shown here is that people were able to identify and recognize that chromosomal location of immunoglobulin genes in human and mouse. They have seen the chromosome here in human and mouse. What are the genes present in that? For example, the heavy chain is present on chromosome 14 for humans, chromosome 12 for mice. Kappa chain, light chain is present in chromosome 2, and then this delta chain, delta or whatever symbol, the chain is present in this human chromosome 22, lambda, I think. Yeah. So basically, the polypeptides of a single antibody are produced by different genes present on different chromosomes. Again, genes are regulated, right? During a development of B lymphocyte, genes are regulated. There is a developmental timing, there is a developmental event. When there is a gene switch on only for certain time, that only heavy chains should be transcribed. At certain time, based on the genotype, based on the isotype, only cake should be on, this delta should be off, right? On and off will happen. Again, this will combine, heavy chain, light chain should combine. So there is a distinct process mechanism that's been shown up in the B cell development. We will talk in further slides. But remember that it's coded by two genes. H is different gene and L is different. Again, two genes for the isotype. So you are just talking about the chains here. One chain, two chains. Three polypeptides or three proteins you are talking. Remember that we spoke several times that our body is made up of 10 billion different types of B cells. It's a huge amount of diversity in terms of how many B cells our body will have. And again, each B cell will have approximately B cell receptors, membrane bound antibodies in the range of 10 power 5 again, each. And once an immune response is elicited, each B cell will take into specific antibody. There is only one antigen antibody interaction. And that will produce approximately 2000 molecules per second in secretory step. Each B cell, effector B cell, plasma cell, can produce 2000 molecules of secreted antibody. So basically, you are looking for a lot of combinatorial and a lot of, in terms of number, it is huge. How can it produce that? How can a system will work to generate that? What does here is a combinatorial control. For example, I am going back into specific segments of the heavy chain, light chains, and then I'm talking about specific segments in germline segments, somatic segments that we will talk in next class. We are looking into a segments called VDJ. In the heavy chain, there is a variable of this kind of gene segments. We are talking heavy chain gene, light chain gene, K and lambda. In the heavy chain, there is a segment called V. That segment is in an amount of 51 variable numbers, 51 variable forms. And D is there in heavy chain also, that is in terms of 27 variable forms. And then J in 6 variable forms. And remember that this D is not there in the light chain, it is 0, 0. It D constitutes only for heavy chain. In the light chain, again, there is VJ are only there. The V is 40 here, 30 here, J is 5 and 4 here. So basically, it simply is saying that there is a variable forms in terms of gene and gene segments for the production of heavy and light chains. You take a combinatorial of either you combine this V and J, combine this VDJ in randomly of these numbers, you may get a combination in terms of probability. So for example, a combinatorial of VDJ or VG joining, possible combinations. You see, you take all these VDJs, you multiply 3 factors, you get close to 8000 variability here. Then you combine here, D will not be there in light chain. You get a light chain into 200 into 120. You multiply this combination at a given time, you can generate close to 2.64 into 10 power 6 variable antibodies constituting different domain structures. Again, this combination is which one combines with what. It's always random. You cannot guide that by step process, or you don't know that a priori. It is all a random process. Okay. In germline DNA, each of these multi-gene families contain several coding sequences called gene segments, VDJ, separated by non-coding regions. We will see the structure in the next slide. During B cell maturation, these gene segments go undergo recombination or rearrangements and bring particular combination, and particular immunoglobulin constitute a combination of this VDJ or VJ. So it's nothing but you just imagine a situation of Legos. For example, I think many people are at home with COVID-19. I think we can start a Lego factory. We can be rich by now, but people are already selling it. So what I'm trying to say here is that, let's say there is a multiple figures, 4 images here. Let's imagine the figure 1 as the basic 4 units of 4 antibodies. Forget about the colors. By combining that, you can generate Y-shaped antibodies here, all structurally similar Y-shape. But if you take this each unit, a light or heavy chain or constant or variable region, there are 6 compartments here, right? These round dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 5. And each can be again variable into different forms based on the VDJ domains, combinations and different gene segments I explained in the previous slide. They can form a different combination. And imagine you are starting a Lego factory and you cannot start with simple 6 or 8 or 10. That's enough. You sell it to one person. You have to sell it to the worldwide distribution. So you will start making an unit like this. You will start producing this unit almost like kind of millions and billions of times. This unit multiple times, this unit multiple times the factor where you reach your market. So basically the factory consists of bins and bins of these combinations, that full trucks and trucks possibly. And then you recombine them to a specific sorted out and make that give a direction that this diagram will combine these Legos into this. Thus you can give a diagram, you can give a direction. Basically in the same way, the anti-immune system is working with millions and billions of antigens and billions of combination of epitopes, structural conformation. There is a space, there is 3-dimensional organization, like the way, that's why there is a combination of antibodies produced in multiple. It's basic simple mathematics. So this slide is a little bit important because if you can take some time and write down this structure of this, whatever in this slide, that will make your life easy for understanding or writing anything for the recombination event. This is basically the structural gene segments, units constituting the heavy chain, light chain, again kappa and lambda. So what they are describing here, that they have done a lot of molecular and immunological testings, and they have used multiple methods to deduce this order, deduce this structure of each gene. But basically we are jumping to know already confirmed, so we're just trying to understand that. For example, let's take lambda chain DNA. Let's say for the light chain, these two. In this consists of, you see the color code, there is a leader sequence. We will talk about that at the end of the class. Forget about that, the black sequences here. And there is kind of light pink here, the V region. And there is a region called blue, there is yellow. So basically, there is V, there is C, there is J. And the C is the constant region of the light chain. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 units are there. They are randomly arranged here. And there is a J region 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And consist of the V variable region, there is only 2 variable regions. And remember that whatever the leader sequence associated, it always comes in the anterior region of the V. And also look in the direction of how the chain is going. We are going from 5' to 3'. The anti-parallel 5' to 3' will consist of here complementarity. And always look into this designation. Consists of K chain of the light chain again, there is only one C, there is 5 J's. And again coming on to the V region, 1, 2 is here, but there is N, there is multiples of V present in the K light chain, that is approximately 85. The number they have already deduced it. And heavy chain is again consists of V, J, C, and the new region is called D. D consists of 1 to 13, V consists of again 134 to the N maximum, and J only 4 units. And remember the C, because the heavy chain constitute the isotopes for immunoglobulins, right? Gamma, whatever the 5 isotopes we talk, because they are coming from the variability in the constant region of the antibody, heavy chain. You see here, alpha, epsilon, gamma, delta, and mu. They have the all regions here already coded in the gene, and they have a specific gamma different combinations. So if you want to code for mu, what you will do, you don't need all these segments, right? When you are specifically coding for an for immunoglobulin, for example, M, I think that is a mu, then you don't need all these. So there is a mechanism to remove all these, only take this, a combination of the other that will happen during gene recombination and rearrangement. But please try to go and write these structures in a notebook, try to memorize this, then you can write a given essay or 2 marks or 4 mark question. So this is the basic gene structure, gene segments that has been established in the B cell during the development of the initial immature steps. So why I'm talking about development of the B cell again? Origin of the immune cells and where they are originated, where they travel. And we know that B cell is coming from hematopoietic stem cell. They differentiate at certain times, they move into secondary lymphoid organs, and then they encounter antigen only in the lymphoid organs, not in the primary. They encounter antigens only in the lymphoid organs, secondary lymphoid organs, peripheral lymphoid tissues. So they go through, travel with certain journey, and in terms of the development of the antibody specificity, for example, there is millions of B cells, and each B cell is again unique. During this development from origin to the maturity, when these steps of variability is generated, so there is an explanation done in Q-based immunology, chapter 5. You can concentrate. I will again divide that into two processes. One is bone marrow, one is peripheral lymphoid organs. One step happens in bone marrow, one step happens in peripheral. What we can deduce from this figure is that just look into the cell. What the cell we are looking here, look into this Ig expressed, immunoglobulin expression is there or not. Expression is there means transcription is happening. Either gene present or gene sequences, gene arrangements are there, but whether the gene is transcribed or not, is the promoter on or not, that is called as Ig expressed or not. And then different molecular event happening here, gene rearrangement, heavy chain rearrangement, light chain rearrangement, RNA processing, antigen stimulation, differentiation, different types of cells are different. So you take this chart, write down into different compartment, what the cells you're talking, what the lymphoid organs you're talking, whether transcription is formed or not, what polypeptides are coming, or you can go into the mechanism, each mechanism of gene regulation. That we will see further. But before that, in the bone marrow, what is it happening? The bone marrow, hematopoietic stem cell is there. It differentiated into lymphoid cell, and it becomes into pro-B, pre-B, immature, and mature B cell. B cell goes through different stages of development. You will have a different marker for that. If the marker is on, you can say that the lymphocyte is in the B stage, or in the mature stage, you can tell that. Mainly mature is associated with either B cell receptors, that we can already discuss. And in terms of this color differentiation of these cells, what they are talking is that there may be the gene sequence for a specific B cell is there, VDJ units or VJ units based on light and heavy chain. But before any transcription, before any gene has been switched on, there are DNA rearrangements will happen. For example, in these stages, whatever the VDG combinations we spoke, they will start recombining randomly. They don't need any signal for that. The gene segments start recombining randomly, and certain stage there is transcription switches on, and a heavy chain transcription forms, a polypeptide forms, then polypeptides will combine to form a specific antibodies here. Again, the IgM and IgD are membrane bound. There is again once in terms of the peripheral lymphoid organs, antigen stimulation happens. Then they know that which antibodies, IgM, IgD, or IgA, which one has to trigger more. They have to make clonal population. Antigen stimulates that, activated B cell differentiates into plasma and memory cells. Then they might give rise to one form of the antibodies. And there is a classic switch called antibody switching that we will see in the next class. But try to again write down this process, write down this chart, nicely explaining the organ, where is it happening, which is the cell doing what in terms of the event, in terms of the cells or polypeptides formed. Again, a pro-B, pre-B, immature, mature, and activated B cell that becomes into plasma cell here. So in this case, specifically, they are talking about a specific gene called BLIMP1. They were able to specifically look at the expression of the BLIMP1. They have a fusion reporter, GFP reporter or RFP reporter. They fused this molecule to the reporter and they started looking at the expression, either green signal is on or there, using microscopy and looking into different stages of the B cell. They could see that the expression is less in certain stages, expression is high in the plasma cell for specific molecule of interest that you can study. So again, going into a little bit fundamentals of gene expression, because we know the VDJ gene segments in terms of light and heavy chain, but how a combination can be picked. A specific V1 can be arranged with J10, J2, and then D10, or V3, J4, D8. Like that, a combination can come up, right? Again, they have to stitch it together. That process is called splicing. And if you want to understand better, let's go into terms of the fundamentals, how this post-transcriptional mechanism will happen. For example, you know that starting from the genome, gene DNA is there. The protein will come from a specific DNA molecule, specific gene. Between that, transcription happen, and then translation will happen. RNA will be translated into proteins, and then translation happens in cytosol, transcription happens in the nucleus. Again, in the transcription, there are different processes of transcriptional called post-transcriptional regulation. Again, we are zooming in here from the unit to the molecular structure. A promoter will be there in the gene, and then there is a start site of the gene transcription, or in terms of gene expression. This is a DNA molecule. Introns and exons. Introns are light, exons are dark. And again, during the transcription mechanism, you will have a separate sequences 5', 3' UTR added up. There is a modification of cap, and then there is a at the 5' region, a 3' region, poly A will come with polyadenylation. And in terms of splicing, the introns will be removed by a spliceosome complex. Then the exons are stitched together, having a specific mRNA. This is called nascent mRNA that goes to cytoplasm. Then polymers will come, specific polysomes, and proteins will come. Remember that the post-translational mechanism will consist of mRNA processing, mRNA stability, compartmentalization, and further translational regulation. So this is really important to understand how the combination of antibody from gene to gene segments, how they are stitched into different specific mRNA molecule, the combination of this VDJ regions, that we will look into that. In terms of molecular mechanism, there are several models have been proposed how the variability of antibodies can be produced at the molecular level. But there is 7 combinations they have given here, but we will try to cover this one that is very important. I think in terms of syllabus also you can cover this, probably a little bit this, that's good enough I think. I will check back again. One of the mechanism is called combinatorial VJ joining or VDJ joining. That one is one of the mechanisms that happens. It's again, I already briefly spoke in the previous slides. For example, you are without post-transcriptionally mechanized molecule here, a combination of the gene segments 5' to 3', and they go through post-transcriptional mechanism, introns are removed. A combination of JK2 yellow things are there, but only one has been picked up here, and there is a polyadenylation. A combination of the mRNA is formed here. So what is this, how it happens? It's called by a process called VDJ recombination, a process by which B cells randomly assemble immunoglobulin gene segments, either VDJ segments from either from heavy or light chain, to form a functional variable region of exon. Variable region exon. So they will form a variable region of the exon that will be differing from one exon to the other based on the combination of the VDJ. That can be formed by VJ joining, DJ joining, VDJ joining. We will see in further slides. And also one more is called somatic recombination. The term is important, where the segments of the genes can be rearranged and then gene segments to form a complete variable coding region. and this process is called somatic recombination. It is always random. You cannot tell which one will stitch to what. It is a random process. No one can control that. There is a end process will happen. There is an end product will come very randomly. Let's talk about light chain VJ recombination. For example, K light chain we are looking at here. So this is the germline DNA arrangement. The K light chain consists of only one C unit, again variable V, and then J regions. By recombination, by VJ joining, they were able to see that one of these VK23 was able to combine with the J4, and then there is a rearranged K chain. Rearrangements will form. Forming the rearrangements, this will move here, this will move there. Then a rearrangement, reordered structure will form. Then coming from the parent germline DNA, there is a rearranged DNA. Chains are rearranged, segments of the DNA moved. Then transcription starts later. After rearrangement or after recombination, transcription starts. Exons or introns are removed. Then a specific mechanism of primary mRNA, nascent, and K chain will come. So based on this germline, based on the rearrangement, then you get a specific combination of VJC that will give rise to a specific variable region here, specific short chain, K light chain of the antibody. Okay. So we will see this in further slide again. So this is VDJ joining. We are talking about heavy chain here. This is the fundamental heavy chain structure. There is a two-step recombination happens in heavy chain. In the first step, the D's are here, J's are here. They rearrange themselves. Then there is a DJ joining will happen here. You see this D, this J has been joined. Then after DJ happened, then specific variability of the V's will pick up. For example, V21 will join with this combination. So there is first recombination, second recombination in terms of rearrangements. No transcription yet, only recombination is happening. So DJ will form first. Then this DJ complex will go and rearrange with the V. Then VDJ joined. Then rearranged with VDJ. Transcription happens, same step. And the mRNA molecule will be here. Again, see that coming on to the K, we have only one C region. Coming on to these heavy chains, we need to generate 5 types of heavy chains. So in this scenario, after transcription, they have taken only mu and delta. Those two only taken. Again, they will go into separate splicing mechanism. They go into separate combination. They may have a common sequence here, but they are differing them here by this C alpha and C mu delta. That's why they are called isotopes. So we have less than 4 minutes. We'll see. Hopefully, we will talk a little bit about how these recombination steps can happen. Why this recombination? How these gene sequences can rearrange, recombine, how it can be done. Basically, it can be done because the DNA sequences, just like restriction enzymes, they have palindromic sequences, specific recombination signal sequences called RSS, which are recognized by or activated by recombination activating genes RAG1 and RAG2. Two genes are there. They code specific proteins. They will combine with that. So basically, they are present in the non-coding DNA sequences. So you are looking for a coding sequence of either V, D, J, and each one of them. For example, V will have this RSS sequence, D will have it, J will have it. So that's why a combination of common coding sequence enhanced. For example, let's take the case of the V here. There is a consensus recombination sequence consisting of this. We'll talk about it given the time. So each recombination sequence, either taking the V here, following V, there is a kind of sequence like this. For example, here, you see a combination of nucleotide sequences. First one is called heptamer, and then nonamer is 9, hepta is 7. They are consistent sequences. They are common to all antibodies. They consist of this CA 7 nucleotide, 9 nucleotide. They are present in 5' downwards to 2', and in between separated by 12 to 23 spacer. Okay, RSS signal is a combination of consisting of these consensus sequences in the 5', 3', heptamer, nonamer, separated by a spacer that constitutes or follows either any combination of the V, D, or J, each individually. they will have these sequences. So basically, again, I'm talking about the DNA of heavy chain. You have V, D, and J and C. C will not have it. Only this variable region it will happen. And they have a 23-12 spacer. Each one consists of these molecules. And then heavy chain and then K chain here. So based on the number of chains, you will have a different rearrangement. Probably we will talk about that in the next class also, because we're going into 2 minutes. So what is this RSS signal? Heptamer, nonamer, in between a spacer. In the spacer, and we'll have a 12 to 23 rule. So basically, a combination of either a 12 base pair spacer followed by 23 base pair spacer, they can only combine. I think we may not cover that in the present class, but bear with me. For example, here, this is a K chain, this is a lambda chain, and this is heavy chain. You see here, this is a 23, for example, 2-turn, why they call it? Because constitute to 12 nucleotide length. 23 is double the 12 nucleotide length. This is only one the 12 nucleotide length. This blue can combine with only this orange. Basically, when they want to recombine by the enzymes, and this blue can only go with the red. Just looking at the colors. In either other orientation, this red can only, orange can only combine with the blue. But this blue cannot combine with the blue. This red cannot combine with the red. So there is a kind of sequence homogeneity that allows them that V cannot combine with the V can combine with J only, D cannot combine with D can combine with J only. This complex can combine with the VH only. That we will take up in the next class, how this mechanism and further transcriptional regulation happens. We'll briefly talk in the next class, but try to go and work in a specific diagrammatic representation. Draw this, all the combinations here, try to memorize them. We will take up on Thursday or Friday, further remaining class, a little bit more explanation.